Hello everyone. Today we're playing a little bit, just a little, of the Starship Damrey, a game that was recently released on the 3DS eShop. It's an exploration/puzzle game made by Level 5. It's a game about exploring a dark, lonely spaceship as you try to figure out what happened to the crew and how you can get out. I've seen some places classify it as a survival horror game, but it's not really. Damrey is much more about mystery than about horror. I'm just mentioning this because if you go into it expecting a horror game, you'll probably be disappointed. It's much more about mystery, about exploration, and about puzzle solving. Now, if the idea of an exploration puzzle game on an abandoned spaceship sounds interesting to you, I would probably suggest that you stop this video right now and go play it for yourself. And there are two reasons for this. One, it's a very short game. You can probably beat it between 3 or 4 hours your first time through. So even seeing a little bit of it would be a significant amount. The other reason is because of this. Damrey is meant to be played without knowing anything about it, without having any kinds of instructions, any kind of tutorials, any kind of knowledge about the game going in. And really, I've played it all the way through, and I would agree with that. I would say play it for yourself from the beginning without knowing anything about it. If you want to do that, then again, stop the video. If not, then let's continue on. We'll play for a few minutes and just see what it's all about. It's not that we're going to see any big spoilers or anything, but even the beginning of the game does have puzzles as you figure out how the game works. So I guess let's start.
You may be suffering from amnesia due to the cold sleep.
The game has begun. Could you tell? The game doesn't tell you it's begun. It just begins with 2 black screens, with a couple of lit objects on the bottom screen. So I suppose let's press them. The blue one was the light switch. Or was that the red? Looks like that was the red. So we can turn the light on and off, and we can see what appears to be our blanketed body lying down somewhere. Let's press the blue button. Now, we're in some kind of capsule. It mentions cold sleep, so I guess we're in some kind of cryostasis in this capsule. However, it won't let us out. So what can we do about that? A couple of other things in this capsule we can look at. That doesn't seem like something that would help us right now. Alright, there's some sort of information posted to the side of the capsule, mentioning if the operating system fails to boot. We can see that there is 1 and 2 files that apparently are corrupted and are preventing the OS from booting. So it says boot in safe mode. How can we do that? I guess there's only one thing we can do, and that's fool around with the buttons on this keyboard. Let's try reset. No, we have to repair the errored files before we can reset the system. Help? Because we do need help. We don't actually know how to use this. That doesn't seem to tell us too much. Light? We can control the light. That works. Oh, what's that? I can't seem to get rid of this keyboard right now. But if you look at beyond the keyboard, there appears to be some glow-in-the-dark words that fade away. Maybe you want to take a look at those a little later. What's in the memo? I think we could figure that out on our own. No, we still cannot open this hatch, even with the keyboard. So if we try to edit, okay, it lets us try to repair the files. All right. It tells us what commands to enter anyway. You think the computer could just do this by itself if it already knows what commands to enter? But I guess it does need someone to actually enter these commands. Maybe the computer is not authorized to repair itself. Okay, let's go down to repair file B. Oh. There's a problem with the arrow keys. We have to redefine them. Apparently that information was corrupted. So what direction is up? Well, it's up. How about down? Great. We could probably use those. We actually do need to press down to select Repair File B. This is the easiest repair of an operating system ever. Oh, the commands are vanishing. 34674. So we have to be kind of quick. Oh, and math. Because, just in case, we have to make sure that we remember how to do math as we are rebooting this OS. So great. And doing that somehow uncorrupted the operating system. Now we can reset. So you can kind of see how the game works so far. Those puzzles were quite simple. However, it was really up to us.
Please speak now.
Hold on.
For Voiceprint Verification. The displayed text is just a sample.
We have to give our voice print.
Anything you like.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. No match.
Unable to confirm voice print.
Here's a little hint. We don't actually have to say anything. The microphone is not actually being used right now. It doesn't actually matter what we say. Sorry to break the illusion, but it's no match.
Voice print match failed. Official crew status denied. Next, you will be tested. Please answer all of the following questions.
And this is apparently necessary to gain guest access to the system. Pattern recognition. So which of those symbols on the bottom screen should go in the center? I mean, come on. This, of course, is what you need to do to gain access to the system as a user. So it looks like that the circle would go in the middle. Empty square. And empty triangle. And now we have access, for some reason. I guess it just had to make sure that we wouldn't break the system when we got in, by giving us an impromptu intelligence test. But my point is that you can kind of see how this is going to go. It's giving us simple puzzles that are not too difficult to figure out, but at the same time, it's really not giving us any indication of what we have to do, or even what we might have to look at or press on the screen to activate those puzzles, and much of the game is like that. No, I don't think you need to repeat it, computer. And apparently we might have memory loss because of the termination of cold sleep. I don't know if that's the case because our character has not actually said anything. I mean, our character is alone in the capsule. There's no reason to actually say anything. Except for the voice print. But I guess maybe our voice is the voice of the character. So, we're stuck in this capsule. And this is the only interface that we have to actually try to interact with the outside world, with the rest of the ship. So what can we do from here? Well, we can't communicate with anything, because we're out of range. We can try to access the database, see what the log's about. Okay, it tells us what we've done so far. We've restarted the OS. The robot manual. We haven't seen any robots yet, but that's apparently the manual for them. And Space Leech. There is an entry for Space Leech, 0 out of 20. Caution, Space Leech. Okay, let's look at robot. This is the main thing we'll be using in the game. There are assist robots on the Starship Damrey. Most of them are offline for some reason. There's a couple that are active, so let's take a look at them. Well, the first one seems alright, except its camera isn't working. So if we can't see where we're going with this robot, that's no good. What about AR7? Okay, we're seeing through AR7's camera. That's working. Except something is obstructing it. AR7 can't move for some reason. If we can hit it, we might be able to get it moving. Well, we don't have too many options. These other robots, all of them, don't work. So, it's either AR7 or AR1. AR1 can move, it's just that its camera doesn't work. But fortunately, the surveillance camera does see the robot. There it is. And we can move it. We're in control. So even though we're stuck in our little cold sleep capsule, we can move this robot around. However, it's no good because we can't actually see through its camera. There's 7 right there. It's stuck. Okay, but it looks like I think we know what to do. Might as well just keep going. There's really no other option. And there we go. Alright, let's select AR7. And now that it's dislodged, we have a fully functional robot. Apparently the only one left on the ship. And now we actually have a means of moving around and examining things. No good. We can try to push and pull it. It didn't do anything. Well, I mean, for what purpose would we even be trying to do that? We can access a map. We can see on the bottom screen the number of rooms on the Starship Damrey. On the top screen, we can see the room we're in, and there's a door marked by red. First, let's look around this room and see if we can find anything. Yes, the robot instructions, which we also have in our log. Probably the important part of this is that a robot can only hold one object at a time. So we have to make sure it's the object that we need. We can mainly observe things with the robot. Now, what should we do now that we have control of this robot? Well, it seems like the most logical thing would be to try to use the robot to figure out where our cold sleep capsule is. So let's leave the room and see if we can figure that out. Except, we need a crew ID card. We don't have that. So, if we don't have that, I guess we're stuck in this room. Okay, that was a little bit of a jump scare. But mostly the game is not what I would call horror. Despite what you just saw. That helmet looked kind of happy, though. Seemed like a jolly-looking helmet. What is it? Okay, it's not a robot, it's a spacesuit. Oh, it's Bobby. I guess he doesn't have a last name. Oh, he's deceased. That is very regrettable. But now we can see that maybe something wrong is happening on the Starship Damrey. Not only can we not get out of our capsule, but a crew member appears to be dead. We can examine the different parts of Bobby's body, and we'll need to do that, because we have to examine his legs to see his pocket. We have to look at his pocket to see the ID card. We have to get the ID card to scan it.
Data on the ID card.
So it's a shame for Bobby, but we do need this card. So it's good for us. Well, I mean, if it thinks we're Bobby, I don't think we're going to argue. All right. Let's head on out. Now we have a little bit more to the map. In front of us is an elevator. But of course, the power to the elevator is cut off, because why wouldn't it be? So, the computer doesn't know why there's no power. Ship is very dark. Doesn't seem like there's much power at all anywhere. Space leeches, yes, we read about them. Well, we saw a mention of them, but we don't know what they are. But there's one right there. We know there are 20 on the ship. The log told us so. They secrete acid, so they're probably bad for spaceships. They're not difficult to kill, though. I guess they're not very dangerous to people or robots. Just don't want them around, otherwise they'll melt holes in the spaceship. Ah, the cold sleep chamber.
The cold sleep chamber. The crew are placed in cold sleep in the capsules here, as internal oxygen levels are currently below safe levels. The capsule doors are locked.
Well, this would be where we are, and it told us why we can't open our capsule. The oxygen levels in that room are below safe levels, so that's a problem. We can't get in because the door is locked because of that reason, and we can't open our capsule for the same reason. I guess we wouldn't want to open our capsule if there's not enough oxygen, so I guess we're going to have to try to figure out how to pump more oxygen in there. Let's look through the window. We can see that there are multiple capsules in there. We should be in one of them, but there's no sign as to which one. We need the captain's ID to get in here, but I don't think we'd really want to get into the airlock anyway. Doesn't seem like a place we'd want to be. We'd want to get into some place that lets us pump more oxygen into this room. But I guess we won't find out how to do that unless we explore the ship further. It's locked, but it looks like... Yeah, it looks like Bobby's keycard will be able to open this. Alright, it's a little loud in here, but I think we see something of interest. That's right. We may be trying to figure out why we found a dead crew member, and why the oxygen levels are too low in the cryosleep room, but we do have time to exterminate these filthy leeches.
Pull the lever and oil will be released.
If we needed oil, I guess now we know how to get it, though we would need a container to contain the oil.
This is the control panel for the power reactor.
We can't use this, only the ship's engineers can. But something we can use... It did mention that we needed to use the switchboard to return power to the elevator.
The breakers are on.
Alright, it didn't seem like there was any reason for why the elevator should have lost power. Any reason that we're aware of anyway. Well, we can't actually do this right now because our robot is not upgraded with a low-light unit. So we can't go up in the vents and see whatever might be up there. Another one of the robots that was deactivated. We can see what happened to AR3. It's just kind of lying here. Unfortunately, nothing we can do can actually move it, which is unfortunate because we can see that there's an unlocked door right past it. We can't get by it because these robots are not very maneuverable. You can't just step over the robot. So we're going to have to try to find another way around. It looks like Bobby did not have access to the warp drive room. So, as for right now, we don't either. I do like the whole idea of how on the bottom screen you can see our prone body, just reminding you that what you're seeing on the top screen is not actually your own vision, but the camera of a robot that you're moving around. And this elevator should be working now. Alright, we haven't been on the second floor yet. Looks like that there are a lot more rooms on the second floor than the first. Or second deck, I should say, since we are on a ship and all that. Well, that seems odd. A little girl on a spaceship, not even wearing a spacesuit. Walking through locked doors without a care. Fortunately, the common room can be unlocked by Bobby. Well, maybe that little girl can tell us what's going on. Where is she? Sitting is pretty nice. That's only the smart thing to do, considering most of the crew would be in cryosleep anyway. Who would be there to even water these plants? Alright, if we want to cook some food, we want to remember that that's there. A picture of the crew. So, it looks like that there are 8 members. Now, I believe, from what we saw on Bobby's ID card, he looks like he's the one all the way on the right in the back row. The others we have not met yet. However, if we remember the picture... Hold on a second. The picture in our capsule. Yeah, her. Kind of looks like, I believe it was the second to the right in the back row. You can kind of see it, sort of the shape of the hair, mostly. No real clue, though, as of yet, as to which one of these we are. And if we have lost our memory, then maybe we don't even remember ourselves. That would be useful if we want some water, which as a robot, why would we? Well, that little girl doesn't seem to be here. That seems like a shame. She's the only one we've seen walk up. Seems a little inconsiderate. We just want to ask some questions. I don't see why she has to vanish like that. Anyway, we're going to continue on. Oh, hold on. I went after the little girl into the common room, but there was another locked door in this hallway that we can take a look at. Unlock the storage room. Oh, it's another AR. It's not programmed to show that kind of hostility, so obviously it wouldn't do that a second time. Shocking. That is kind of strange. And it's unfortunate because if we look over there, we can see the green glow of an unlocked door. We can confirm that on the map. So AR-8 for some reason is blocking us from getting at that door. Maybe we can do it a third time. Now, we will have to deal with AR-8 and try to figure out why it's attacking us. The captain's quarters, well, Bobby's keycard is not going to be able to access that. Only the captain would be able to access the captain's quarters. So we can probably assume that we're not going to be able to get in there anytime soon. I guess Bobby is non-essential personnel. We have a hallway with a number of locked doors here. And this is where the crew is bunking. It says that only the crew that's bunked in that cabin should be able to enter. So apparently this is not Bobby's cabin. But this one we can unlock, so it looks like Bobby did sleep here. We still have no idea how to restore oxygen to that cold sleep room.
You do not have the authority to search this locker.
Wow, come on, we're Bobby, right? Surely Bobby can search his own locker. Whoop, I heard that. That's right. Even as we're trying to find a way out, no space leech is safe. What? Violation? Is this a violation of regulations? Yeah, I see that bottle right there. If only I had a red stamp right now. But I don't. So I guess, I was going to say Bobby gets off easily, but he's dead, so I guess not. Humans do require sleep, don't they? Well, that's something we should do something about. Well, since we only have Bobby's keycard, we shouldn't be able to unlock any of these other doors. However, one of them is already unlocked, so let's see what's inside.
You do not have the authority to search this locker.
Water. Water.
Hey, it's a living crew member. For some reason, he hid in his locker. That seems like a strange place to hide, especially when he's dying of thirst.
This is Abdul, the information officer. He appears to desire some water.
Yeah, I would guess so from what he said.
The water case is empty.
Okay, we can take his water case. And I think we know where we can get some water for Abdul. Let's take that.
Firing it now.
He seems like in bad shape, so let's try to do this as fast as we can. Maybe Abdul will be able to tell us something about what's going on. Try to fill in some blanks. And there are many blanks so far. Yeah, and this is the common room right here. Girl in white, still nowhere to be seen.
Releasing water.
All right.
Acquiring it now.
All right, let's get back to Abdul. Fortunately, we don't have to try to feed him the water. We can just attach it to his suit, and it should do the rest. Abdul still with us? Let's hope he is.
Careful. The Keplarian went crazy. Might still be around here.
Oh no, Abdul! Well, we gave him some water in time for him to tell us something about something called a Keplarian, which perhaps
This is Abdul, the information officer.
Perhaps this Keplarian is responsible for what we've been seeing. Well, that seems like a waste.
There is an ID card in the pocket.
Well, you know what we're here for.
Scanning the data on the ID card. Acquired data from the ID card.
So Abdul died, so we can access the storage room. By the way, Abdul, for as little voice acting as he had, was voice acted by Jeff Kramer, the voice of Agent Francis York Morgan, if you recognized it. And actually, even though Abdul here did not have many lines, if you go through the game, later on, Jeff Kramer does have quite a few more lines to say. So that is interesting if you're a fan of Agent York, if you want to hear him in something else. There's a cookie can in that locker. But no cookies remain, and that is the biggest horror of all.
Acquiring the cookie can.
We'll take it anyway, I guess.
Acquiring it now.
Yep. Doesn't seem like much use with no cookies. Abdul ate them all. I can't blame him. I mean, he's dying. It's not like he has a reason to save them for anyone else. What can we do with a cookie can? Do you think? Well, we did see a place earlier on where we could have used a container. Do you remember where? You can sort of see how this game goes. It's a series of... It's exploration of hallways, of rooms, trying to gain access to further rooms. And it's also a series of simple puzzles. The puzzles are not really difficult to figure out, but the thing is, the game does not really do anything to hold your hand or to give you any kind of instructions or tutorials on what you're supposed to do or even what you're supposed to be looking for, which is a lot different from most games, and it's interesting in that way, how the whole game is like that, how it's a whole series of just trying to figure out what you should be doing, where you should be going, and what your goal even is. Even though, if you look at the individual puzzles, it's not like any one of them are difficult. What can you do with a cookie can? Well, we saw before that you can use a container with this oil.
Item below the nozzle.
And we'll do that. Some sweet, sweet oil in this cookie can. Okay, now we have a cookie can filled with oil.
Acquiring it now.
I wonder what we would do with that. Can you figure it out? I think that's probably where we'll stop with the Starship Damrey. Like I said, it's a very short game. Your first time through, you'll probably solve it in around 3 or 4 hours. It's an interesting little story, interesting little plot, and I do like the whole thing about exploring this deserted spaceship, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to put the pieces together, trying to figure out what to do next. As far as gameplay goes, it really does not get any more complicated from what you've seen so far. It's pretty much all like this all the way through. So, if you were interested in what you saw, I would suggest playing the Starship Damrey. I enjoyed it. It does seem like maybe there's not enough of it. It does seem like perhaps they introduced certain aspects of the game that don't get fleshed out enough, perhaps. But I thought it was good while it lasted. And it has Jeff Kramer doing voice acting. And you have to get to the end to hear most of his voice acting. So there's that. So that's Starship Damrey, available on the 3DS eShop. And I liked it quite a bit.